I don't know what happened, people. I don't know what happened. It just, the video just quit. So it just quit. It just stopped. I don't know these things. Um, where all you went who were on the other video. I'm really sorry about that. I have no clue as to what happened. It just quit and said, video is done. You're done. So now I've started a new one. I hope all of you who had joined before. Okay, hi Sarah. I don't even know what happened there, but hopefully all of you that were, I saw a bunch of you coming on, and then I was just talking, and then it went something suspicious. Just kidding. So I don't know what happened. Okay, we're gonna try this again. We're gonna do this again. So I don't even remember where it cut out. It just stopped. It said done. And I was like, oh my God, I need my 18-year-old son here to help me figure these things out, because this is not my expertise. I just push go live, and then at the end I push end live. That's it. That's what I do. That is, so anyway, we're back, and I hope everybody comes back, because I saw a bunch of people logged on. We are talking today about real love versus abuse disguised as love. Before the video cut out, I think I was explaining why it's so important, not only for me, but also for any of you, if you're in a place to tell your story, share your experiences, that all of these words that I'm putting out there are just lights on the darkness, right? We're looking, I hope all of you good are coming back, because like I said, I don't know what happened before. Weird. I hope that never happens again. But you're finding your way back. So good. Hello, Judith. All right. So talking about not just why I do this and why it's so important and why I love it. I do. I love it. It's a shitty topic. I mean, but this is something we got to talk about, because if we want to solve the problem that we're facing, we have to name the problem. So that's why, and when it comes to narcissists and narcissistic abuse, that is a slimy rock that we gotta, and a heavy boulder that we gotta pick up and see what's growing underneath. And then we gotta look at it, we gotta examine it, we gotta talk about it. That's what we have to do. Okay, so glad everybody is making their way back. So let's start with, and when I say real love versus abuse disguised as love, this was something that I realized in somewhere along the way, kind of in the beginning of my healing and recovery journey, right? It came along the same time as when I was trying to face those illusions I had about my ex, right? We talked about that yesterday. Having these illusions as far as that we came out of the relationship with, that he loves me. That's a huge illusion that you got to get over and shatter, right? That he loves me, he would never hurt me, he didn't mean what he did, he knows not what he does. That's bullshit. Narcissists know full well what they're doing, and they do it anyway because they do not love, right? Yeah, Beth is just pointing out that there's a lot of yeah, there are people out there who don't want us to use labels and name things and call things and whatever else, but I agree with you, Beth. She's saying that, hey, if the labels help, if these words help you to understand when you're in your recovery and healing process, when you're finding out all about narcissists and stuff like that and what happened to you, awesome, right? Because that's, to me, that's just shedding light on the darkness. So we want more of that. All right, so talking about real love versus abuse disguised as love. This is a really painful part of the healing process for ourselves. This is one of those hard truths I keep talking about. There are a lot of hard truths, big, huge pills that you got to choke down and to accept and understand about what happened to you and how you got here, how you got there to that point, without looking at it without blame or shame. We need to strip the judgment from it. We don't want to look back with self recrimination, right? Where we're beating ourselves up for staying too long, for putting up with it, for not seeing it. So this is a judgment-free zone as we're talking today. No self-blame allowed. You've been blamed enough for all the kind of shit that you never really did, right? So this is the safe place where we're not doing that. We're not, no judgment allowed as we talk about this. But it's still painful, because when you start that journey of figuring out, okay, I thought this was love on both sides. You thought he loved you and you thought you loved him. Now that you loved him, I know this is the harder truth to accept, if you ask me. But it was something I had to accept in order to move on. And when I say that I had to accept that, did I love him? Well, is love abuse? If obviously no. So if it was an abusive relationship, and if it's with a narcissist who's putting a mask on, and which falls off later on, so you don't even fall in love with who they really are. So what is that love? What is that really that we're feeling? Is it instead dependency and a trauma bond? And anyway, these are hard truths to accept. But I tell you what, once you do, every time you accept one of these hard truths, it's like a little bird of freedom for you, right? It's just another little bird of freedom until the day comes when that's all you have. You have a huge flock of birds of freedom in your life, right? So if you could think of it like that. And as Beth is also pointing out, there's no victim blaming here. No victim blaming allowed. We get plenty of that. I still get that shit. You know, we all get plenty of that. It's rampant out there. So we're not doing that here with each other, right? Like I said, this is a safe space to honor everyone's experience. We're all on the same path. I just happen to be farther down it, so I have the perspective and hindsight of looking back, and I have that complete emotional detachment and emotional freedom, so I can talk about everything without that emotional attachment that would make me, have reactions based on my emotions. So I'm past that. So real love versus abuse disguised as love. How do we know the difference? Okay, we're just gonna break this down. Okay, the first thing that, and I'm gonna use my book. I got my book. I forgot to say that. Remember that I just got print books a couple weeks ago. And again, if you share my videos, I put you in for to win a signed copy. I'll send it to you, no cost to you. And I'm going to be drawing 10 names at the end of my 30-day Facebook Live. So, and the more you share my videos, the more you're entered, if that makes sense. Okay, but I'm going to use this because I do have a chapter in it called Real Love Does Not Abuse, and here is why. So when you're in that, when you're, the first part of the healing and recovery process, what is so hard along with getting rid of those illusions, right? That's tough. Whew, that was tough. Oh my God, I remember those days. That was hard. A lot of days spent in my meditation stance, just catching tears, right? Just catching tears. It's tough. It's tough to go through that. One of the things that, and which explains why a woman returns to her abuser an average of 7 times. This is an average, folks. That means that's in the middle, is 7 times, right? But part of this explains why that happens, is because when we come out of it, we are still bonded, codependent on this person, right? Even though they hurt us, even though they might have done horrible, horrible things, and you're aware of that, but you still have this bond, what you consider to be love. So that skews your memory, right? So when you start getting lonely, I'm just reading the comments. When you start getting lonely and you're, and it is a very isolating and lonely experience to recover and heal, especially at the beginning. It's very lonely, right? You just think like you're all alone in the world and nobody understands you. And so the pain could easily drive you backward to the arms of the one you're trying to recover from. It's understandable. I did it. I did it. No blame here. No judgment. No blame. One of the things, there's some hard questions you have to ask yourself, right? Because here's the thing. At the beginning, for example, what I would do is when I would look back, I would look back only at the good times, right? Because when you're in an emotionally abusive relationship, it's not like it's all bad every day. It's just, you know, it starts out in the beginning mostly good, a little bit not great, and then as it progresses, it gets mostly bad with a little bit good. That's how it is with a narcissist, right? They just get worse as time goes on. But the pain was so great that I spent my time looking at the good times and making excuses. So for example, when he would do something really horrible that would hurt me incredibly so, then after that, right? And maybe I would, you know, and I'm talking about like the big heavy stuff that would happen, especially in the last couple of years of our marriage. Big heavy stuff where maybe I would threaten to leave or threaten to divorce him, or, you know, we know, right, ladies, what we do when you are pushed so much into a corner and your heart is just like concaving from the pain and you can barely stand up, right? Shit comes out of our mouth. That, yeah, it's like, oops, can I get that back? Yeah, so threatening and, you know, I'm gonna leave you, da-da-da-da, or I don't know, calling him every name that I could possibly think of. I still don't think there's a name satisfactory enough to call a narcissist for what they do. I don't think there's a bad enough name out there. But anyway, I would focus on then what happened after, right? How he'd go back into the love bombing. He'd do anything to make me stay or to, you know, just not carry out my threats. Okay. So when I was looking back, I would look at these moments, the good moments where I was really happy. The problem is that I was equating that, I was equating that and not paying attention to the fact that, okay, so he treated me really well 50% of the time, and I'm just averaging over the years. It was much better in the beginning, it got worse at the end, right? So this is an average. So treating me well 50% of the time, and the other 50% of the time, not well. So I didn't want to pay attention to that part, you know, because I would make excuses and be like, well, he, you know, oh, blah, blah, blah. I made so many excuses. It was crazy, you know. Oh, his thing with his mom and his childhood and oh, poor thing. And all that stuff. I did it. I did it all. Here's the thing. So this is one of the hard questions you have to ask yourself when you're looking back, because the worst thing you could do for yourself in your recovery is to look back with glossing over what happened to you, okay, with not looking at it realistically. Then it's much harder to break that bond with who hurt you, right, if you're constantly making excuses for them. So you need to look at it as to why. Okay, yeah, he treated you great 50% of the time, but what about that other 50%? What about the lying and the cheating and the manipulating and the deception and the on and on and on and on that he also did? What about the fact that even if he did apologize, he'd turn right around and do it again? right? With showing no compassion for you when he would, right? I'm using, because I know most of you are women out there. For the men, please change pronouns. I just always talk in these pronouns. Okay, you can change it because narcissists obviously come in women too. And they're everywhere. They're everybody. They're not only your, you know, your spouse, they're your parent, they're your boss, they're your friend. Oh my God. It's like a bad horror movie. Okay, so when you're looking back and you're missing this person, okay, first of all, don't beat yourself up. I said this yesterday. Don't beat yourself up for missing them, for still loving them, or whatever that is that you feel for them. Don't beat yourself up for that. First of all, because as we talked about yesterday, that just takes energy away from your healing, and you're putting energy in his direction. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You want to keep all the energy for yourself because you only have a limited amount, right? So when you're thinking back on, you know, as I did, where you still love him or you really miss him, especially in your really lonely moments, you need to ask yourself, what are you missing, right? Are you missing the man he really was, or are you missing the man he pretended to be? Or the man that you wanted him to be, but he's not. Like, what are you missing? Was he, if you look back honestly, I know this is really hard, especially when you've invested years, decades, you have children. Wow, that it's super hard to do that, right? Your families are joined, you have, yeah, all of that. So when you look back, you want to ask yourself, was he loving you? Is that love? Or was he killing you? Right? Like that song, Killing Me Softly. I know it's supposed to be a romantic song. I think it's Roberta Flack sings that song. I love that song, but I always think Killing Me Softly, that to me, that's what a narcissist does, right? Just killing you softly. Okay. This chapter's in my book, and also I'm going to put the link for the a piece I wrote that's kind of out of my book called Real Love Does Not Abuse. I'll put that in the comments for those of you who want to read or just get the list, because I have an actual list in there of what does real love look like. Here's the problem with those of us who